Tengen's POV. The red light district of Asayuka. A district full with entertainment, sin, and temptation. Tengen was never the type to indulge himself in such pleasure. Being a man of conventional and numerous habits, he found several aspects of such deeds horrendous. Though not in an act itself, but in exposed to bizarre things or a condition that would likely cause injury or spread of diseases, he certainly would have never given to a thought and stepped foot in such a place. As beautiful as it was, from the stringed lanterns that lined the streets to the delicious food and entertainment, Yushiwara still had an ugly side, if not dark side as well. Despite all of this, there wasn't anything for him here. Indeed, he, like the art considerer, trying to look for the finest art in a museum but nothing piqued his interest or amused him. Nothing except you. Tengen was practically been observing you all day, even after you left the bakery. Granted, you really did stick out like a sore thumb, but in a good way. With your freakishly long-haired colored hair that kind of reminded him of the fairy tale about a princess with long hair who was locked up in a tower. Similar. You just looked so out of place here, as if you didn't belong in the red light district. Although the Kijiro, is a yokai said to live and haunt the red light district. However, you weren't a spirit at all. You were human, and Tengen couldn't help but be drawn to you, as he quickly and quietly followed, whilst you idly playing with a red little comb that he eventually wanted to give back to you. He wondered, had you realized it was missing? Maybe you had, but didn't care, and he was just wasting his time. And probably should go home. But it wouldn't hurt to try and talk to you, right? Eventually, Tengen saw you head towards some woods behind a noodle stop, and slightly followed close behind you until you came to a stop and some ruins that used to be an old abandoned temple/building of some sort. It seemed you needed a quiet place to enjoy your dessert, which was understandable as he observed you from the cherry tree. With the constant of lovely scenery, Tengen couldn't help but marvel at how the spring colors highlighted your beauty. Your long-haired colored hair shined in the sunlight. You looked like something out of a fairy tale. Perhaps something akin to an ugly duckling that will actually turn into a beautiful swan. He listened when you hummed, clearly enjoying the chocolate cake that he'd kindly purchased for you as you naively swung your legs back and forth. It pleased him greatly to see you enjoying yourself as he sighs in adorishment. Momentarily, Tengen heard as you began mumbling to yourself once you finished. You seemed as pleased about something as he heard you say something about love. But, what's that about love, Tengen thought, though it's kind of difficult to hear you clearly due to being surrounded by sounds of the outdoors as he watched you bend over to pick up a rock. Tengen Wolf whistled softly. Wow. Now that's a lovely sight to see if he wasn't expecting to see today. Oh God. Now usually he's a man, tend to think about these days, but for Tengen, he knew there's other amazing things that would make a woman as he's a man of culture. Show him a picture or a painting of a woman's chest, and he'll either tell you you have no class or no style, because There are far more important things than just oogling at a woman's chest. Whether she's petite or chubby, there's nothing like her booty. And anyone who can't see that is either blind or a fool. And this is coming from a man with 3 beautiful and boisterous wives. Whew. Tengen immediately had the urge to give you a firm smack for having such a flamboyant booty. Suddenly he noticed that you had turned and saw now glancing upwards at him. Guess. Oops. He internally made too much noise as you parted your bangs just enough to reveal your pretty little face to him. Odd-colored eyes examined him closely, and then whined in surprise. Well, guess there's no use in hiding now, as the sound husher had decided to make his presence known. You have an amazing ass. Your face reared back in disbelief to see a tall man glaring down at you. Just how long he'd been up there. Had he perhaps been watching you? What? You exclaimed back. Though you couldn't quite hear him, you could have sworn he just said something about your ass. Hold on, let me come down there. He suddenly yelled. You yelled when he took a massive leap from the tree, a height you deemed too dangerous for any normal human to jump from. Was he insane? You didn't have time to think as you flinched once he struck the landing. Much to your absolute surprise, it felt like the earth shook when his feet touched the ground with a heavy thud as he calmly stood to his full weight, whilst dusting himself off a tad. I said, he started walking towards you. You have an amazing ass, he says. You glance up at him in both awe and horror as his radiates this intense aura of extreme confidence and flamboyance. He was tall, like really heckin' tall, and was well built. With impressive biceps, he was dressed like a ninja and wore a bejeweled headband. You also noticed that he had 2 big knife-like weapons strapped to his back. There's only one word to describe him, and that's flashy. What's even more strange was that he looked awfully familiar to you, like you've met or seen him before. Are you talking about me? You asked shyly, whilst pointing to yourself. Tengen blinked. Well, yeah. Who else could I be talking to? You're the only person out here, he says. Well, he does have a point, but it's just you never had a man compliment you before, especially about your butt. Was this guy even right in the head? Sorry. I didn't mean to startle you like that, he says. Good to see you again. The name's Tengen Uzui.